let's kick this off by saying welcome. It's great to formally be talking with you through Digital Music News.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We are both huge fans of everything that you've done and accomplished in your career. So
thank you. I'm a big fan of you guys.
Excellent. Well, that's awesome to hear. Let me first ask, what inspired the choice for your attire at the Grammys?
Well, for the audience, I came in a spacesuit and I had a flag that had my name on there. Well, first of all, I just wanted to make sure everybody spells my name right, you know. And I've been to the Grammys 3-4 times before. A lot of people don't know. So I was kind of familiar with the with the red carpet area.
Yeah.
Of going there. So I think that gave me a little hint on how to notch it up a little bit, you know, and just do something different. So that certainly had something to do with it. But I think the whole thing of like everybody was like, who is Al Walser and where is he from and what? That just made me feel like, okay, well, I guess I'm from outer space. I'm from somewhere, you know, beyond the golden sandbox that everybody's playing in. So, yeah, you know, and I have a fascination with astronauts and, you know, and I know Buzz Aldrin personally, so.
Very cool. So, to kind of piggyback on that, what would you say has been your biggest difficulty? Because you have, as an independent artist, you've really been able to establish a name for yourself. What was your biggest barrier for entry in that, and how did you surpass it?
Are you just specifically talking about the Grammys or beyond?
Just as an artist.
Just as an artist overall. There's different phases. See, I come from this small country, Liechtenstein. There's no music entertainment industry, TV stuff there. I mean, I was the first radio DJ ever in this country. There's only 37,000 people. So I had to leave the country in order to achieve something bigger in the music industry. So that was certainly my biggest hurdle, the first biggest hurdle. So I went to Germany. I joined a band called The Fun Factory. And they asked me if I wanted to be part of that. And I said, well, actually no, because I'm a solo artist. But they said, look, this is kind of like a James Bond thing. It's already successful. And this guy just left, and we've known you for years. You're a great songwriter, producer, artist. You can do it all, and we're exactly looking for something like that. I said, okay, let's do it. Then I joined the band Fun Factory, and the next minute I canceled everything. I was a radio DJ, and I left the station, moved to Hamburg, Germany. And then they said, oh, well, we signed you, but we can't use the name Fun Factory. I was like, well, listen, I just left everything I had.
Yeah.
And now you're telling me, you know, we can't even use the name. So there's a lot of hurdles that I had to go through, and we're talking about months. And then, yes, we were able to use the name after a few months. And then success really took off. You know, we had a lot of success in Japan. I was able to do a lot of things over there, all over Europe, eastern part of Europe, great shows. And then I came to a crossroad where I wanted to do more stuff as a solo artist, and that's when I decided to come to the US. And then the internet started to become big.
Yeah.
That's when the internet started to become big. Before, there was really no internet for me. It was just like you really had to deal with the gatekeepers. So that was a huge hurdle. And now all of a sudden, it's in your hands.
Yeah.
A big part of it is in your hands. And that shifted the whole thing for me. And I always did best when I was able to control my own destiny and future, when it was in my hands, when it was like the work that I put in. You know, it's not going to be like, you know, well, hopefully I get that call back. Hopefully they're going to listen to it. You know, it's just real. You know, it's just you and your audience, and I've always did best with that, and that's what I'm doing right now.
That's
who am I looking to?
To me.
Okay,
I'll be
we have two people.
There is a guy behind the camera, but
Yes, there is a man behind the curtains. Don't mind him. He just controls the world.
You're not asking any questions, Paul?
Paul will probably pop in here.
I can jump in. Yeah,
Okay.
if you want.
Gotcha. All right.
So, let's say, how many music platforms are you currently available on for distribution?
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Which one is your favorite for people to be receiving your content on?
I don't really care.
You don't?
No, I absolutely don't care, because nowadays, listen, we're in uncharted waters. Like, you gotta be happy when people actually take the time to listen to music.
Absolutely.
We're in a time right now for independent artists. It's I don't want to say it's hard. It's weird, because right now you can't even give your music away for free.
I know.
And that is a huge. It sounds funny, but here's the thing. A couple of years ago, you'd be like, you know what? I'll do this investment. Maybe I create a few CDs. I give them away for free. That's gone a long time ago. Like, people don't even know how to listen to CDs. Okay, so So 2-3 years ago, you'd be like, okay, well, I'll make an investment. I have this great project. I'll give away download cards or digital whatever, a code so they can type in. People are already sitting on your music.
Yep.
They're not going to type in the password and download and then, put everything on their hard disk. So you can't even give away your music for free.
I know exactly what you mean.
So you have to rediscover yourself as an independent artist. And so I don't give a shit where they listen to my music.
Yeah.
I'm just happy when they listen to it. Obviously I would thank Spotify. I'll pay for Spotify. Spotify is certainly the go-to place for me as a music consumer, but I really don't care. And the same thing is with social media. Like the day only has 24 hours, so I spend most of my time on Periscope right now. So if you guys want to add me at Albalser, that's because it's just such a great tool to connect with an audience.
That's awesome.
Such a great tool.
We will definitely be connecting with you on there. We have to create our accounts though. So once we do that, we're going to be
You
following.
have a Twitter account, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it starts with your Twitter account.
There we go. So we're already halfway there. Kind of catering to our audience being very trade-based, I'm wondering, out of the music streaming platforms or music download platforms that you are on, which one do you think is the most fair to you as an artist? Do you have a preference that way?
Yeah, it's a good question. Now, I don't get lost in details because, again, the day only has 24 hours. And
Yeah.
as an independent artist, I have to focus on certain things that are very, very top priority for me. The top priority for me at this stage in my career is not the little cents I might get more from the new Apple Music deal over Spotify. It just doesn't move the needle for me.
Yeah.
For me as an artist, it doesn't. I totally observe the conversation, and I understand and I appreciate the conversation, but it's not something I've had sleepless nights about. But I'm watching. I do have an opinion on everything that's out there.
Yeah.
But it's really not moving my needle. That little cent more or less, it's just not.
It's interesting to get the perspective of somebody who is within the industry from
Yeah,
that.
because we're at a point where we're just happy when people are listening to your music.
Yes.
And unfortunately, I'm not even trying to make money with the music directly. The music is the engine that keeps me going, that kind of brings me, it sums it up. Yes, it's music, but on Periscope, for example, you get to know me as a personality, as doing so many things, but the music is like the common ground.
Yeah.
But you'll make money with merchandising and live concerts and publishing, so I'm more focused on licensing and stuff like that than the actual sales.
That's very smart.
And streaming.
So within licensing, what have you had as your greatest accomplishment within licensing?
Well, I have a radio show. It's a weekly syndicated radio show that is syndicated on over 400 radio stations worldwide. I do come from radio. It's a 1-hour top 20 countdown show. The website is www.ustop20.fm. So I'm forced to listen to a lot of current stuff every week. Having said that, I try to push as many as independent artists as I can.
That's
so there's a
excellent.
submission button there. People can submit their music, and I guarantee feedback.
That's awesome.
There's a little fee involved, but we do guarantee feedback. So to get back to your question, some of that great music that I get, there's so much great independent music out there.
Oh, yeah.
My goodness. Some of it, not only do I play, but I try to license it. So we get in touch with the copyright holders, and I try to get it under my umbrella, and we license. So I love that. There's a lot of unknown independent artists that are great, and so it's not just my own music; it's other musics as well. And we license it all over the world. I do a lot of shows with Germany as well, a lot of TV shows, and used to oversee and manage a lot of artists as well. I don't have too much time to do that now, but I do produce a lot of acts worldwide, and whatever I produce, I try to get licensed as well for TV and all sorts of stuff.
That's fantastic. So what you do is you really help bridge the gap for a lot of independent artists.
Absolutely, because it's very organic,
Yeah.
It's very organic of what I do, yeah.
That seems like it's a great service, and it's very good that you offer something like that. So since we're discussing pop music on your show, what do you consider to be the worst pop song of the past year?
I can tell you that, and I don't think in that term. I think whatever is successful for a reason, and there's obviously enough people to do that. I would never point a finger at a specific song. I would more point a finger at how a song became a hit, maybe, or the
That's what
industry
I'm referring
behind
to,
it, or
yeah.
the industry behind it. And what I think is that the major labels, they're laughing at the independent artists. They're laughing at them. They're like, yes, let them think they can distribute their music, CD Baby, TuneCore for $15. And yes, we can, and you're everywhere, but you're just sand on the beach. You're not that
Yeah.
sand castle that you can see from far.
Yeah.
How are you gonna stick out? They know that exactly. They're laughing at independent artists, and I'm telling you, that pisses me off. Not that they're laughing, it pisses me off to see how much great music there is. And that the regular consumer, but I think it will change very soon. The regular consumer out there kind of needs that certification from radio or from commercials or maybe even from TMZ,
Yeah.
in order for okay, it's solidified. Now I can listen to it. Okay, it's okay for me to listen to it.
Now it's legit.
Now it's legit,
Yeah.
But there's so much great music. There's absolutely no reason why we need to listen to the same 5-6 people and that's kind of what I stand for, You have to crash the establishment.
I could not agree with you more. And I remember the first time we spoke, it was when I was with my previous company, and that was my whole focus within that, was trying to get exposure to independent artists so
Yes.
that there could be more of that within
Right.
the mainstream and less contrived content that is not created by the people performing it. Because to me, there's a little bit of a separation there, but what you've been able to do has really matched our respect. We really just have nothing but respect for what you've been able to
Thank
do
you
and
so
accomplish
much.
within that,
Thank
within the
you.
music industry. And to kind of look at that from just the perspective of not necessarily the audience or the listeners, but within the music business, it's extremely hard to move forward without that major endorsement. There is, as you mentioned, there's a lot of different platforms to be able to get distribution through.
Yeah.
There's a lot of options, but what you were able to do was really circumvent a lot of that. Can we discuss how that happened for the Grammys?
Well, you got to be more specific, but before we get into it, you're absolutely right. I think, and I keep saying it, they only have 24 hours, and if you're independent, and when I say independent, I mean CD Baby independent, like TuneCore independent.
Yeah.
Not major labels saying, you know what, that's pretty cool.
Well, no,
Yeah.
we know that ADA and The Orchard are a joke, and that Macklemore never made an independent hit. It was always a part of ADA.
Well, I don't know the exact story, but there was certainly some major push involved. I think
Exactly.
the big question is at what point. But having said that, I'm talking about CD Baby independent.
Yeah.
And that's how I got in, and I think it was a big story. The whole Grammy thing, was a big story because there's probably never been a situation where you had a CD Baby or TuneCore kind of artist come in and mingle with the heavyweights
Yeah.
in a very heavyweight competitive category. You have a lot of Grammy nominees that are completely independent, but here I am with Calvin Harris, Swedish House Mafia, Avicii, and Skrillex, and Neo was involved in there too, and me.
Yeah.
And to top it off from this weird country, the smallest country in the world. So that's why it became a story, and I understand.
Yeah.
But that's what rock and roll is. That's
Yeah.
what rock and roll is. You come in and you raise eyebrows and you connect with music. You connect on an emotional level because at the end of the day, people had to vote because they liked it. And that's all I had. By the way, that's all I had is the music and hoping that people like it. Now the majors, they have much more.
Yeah.
To push their things forward.
They
So
have
that's why the
PR,
funny
they-
thing was one of the funniest things was like, oh, Al Walser bought himself. I'm like, if anything, that's exactly what I did do.
Yeah, no, I completely acknowledge
That's
that.
exactly. I mean, I of course you connect emotionally and stuff.
Yeah.
You put your word out there, but I absolutely exactly did not buy my way in like probably many other people. They do it through radio and whatnot.
Oh,
I
yeah.
couldn't even afford it.
Payola is the largest detriment, in my opinion, to independent artists, just with a limited budget, looking at it through that scope.
Well, it's not officially. It's not payola anymore, but it's
Officially, we can pretend whatever it is. It is payola, though, paying for exposure. What I'd like to address, though, is how you were able to use self-promotion to get yourself into that voting section.
Well, first of all, you need to have something that connects with people, that
Yeah.
has the capability to connect, which is a good sound, a good story. Yes. I think a big thing that is probably a bit different with the Grammys is I think people have to like you as well in a way.
Yeah.
I think people have to, first of all, make the check mark. Do we like the music? Do we think it's worthy? And then does this artist, and I'm not even talking about me.
Oh, I understand.
I'm not even talking about me. They like, does this artist deserve that? And that's why I think you didn't have a Justin Bieber the last couple of years. I really believe that that is one of the main reasons. And I'm not judging at all. I'm just saying that people were probably like, no, you know,
Yeah.
he already driving the Lamborghinis and the cars and getting himself into trouble and whatnot. And do we need to give him a grant? You know, listen, at the end of the day, people are people.
Yeah.
You know, and so I think that plays a little bit into it as well.
I completely agree, and I've noticed that from myself, having prior to this not been within the professional industry whatsoever. I was, in Minnesota, not LA, and so I had zero connection with any of this. And now that I've been down here, it's been kind of a culture shock just to see how much it's just real people that are just running this. I mean, they're not robots, they're not machines, they're just people.
And here's the thing, you have thousands of great music, right? And the rules tell you, listen, you should only judge not on personal relationships, but you should only judge on quality. But let's just say you have 1,000 songs that you like, but you only have 5 slots.
Yep.
So who you're gonna put in there, so there's a lot of subconscious stuff going into your decision, I guess.
Completely.
I'm just guessing, but I'm sure that must be a factor with a lot of the Grammy nominations.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
So it's obvious.
Oh yeah, there's
So-
so many different political aspects to it, and that's what I'd really like to look into because
Human aspects.
yeah,
Human aspects.
Human, it's political. I mean, there's so many different facets of what it is because you're trying to get into the ears of people that are doing these votes.
Right.
And so to do that,
And then they have to be aware of you.
well, exactly,
So
yeah.
that's where I came in, and I had I was able to put my name out there, and I think that was the biggest advantage I had. I was able to put my name out there and say, look, this is what it is, And there's many other things that are great as well that probably couldn't put themselves on that pedestal to be seen.
But let's talk about exactly how you did that because here we
There's
have nothing
many
but-
layers, many layers.
I understand. I'm talking about specifically with the Grammys because from our angle, it's something that we tremendously respect. I've been working with independent artists for 4+ years now, just trying to get them into a position like where you are. For them to be able to basically petition, get their word out there about themselves to these people that are making these decisions for the Grammys and to drive it in and really bring it home, that's a huge accomplishment and that's something that we have utmost respect for. So with us, we're not looking at this as petitioning for acknowledgement, anything like that. We're looking at this as this is what you need to do as an independent artist these days, and you were able to accomplish that. So was it emails? Was it phone calls? Were you hanging out by the Recording Institute? I mean, let's just
What a huge Al Walter sign. Well, here's the thing. There are certain rules that tell you what you can and what you cannot do.
Yeah.
For example, if there are Grammy organized events, you're not allowed to solicit for Grammy considerations.
Interesting.
So you're not even allowed to do that. So I certainly didn't do that, and I did not do the phone calls. Maybe that is something that people could or should do. I don't know. And having said that, it changes every year.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that. And they put certain mechanisms into place after I got through, where the things that I've done are not possible anymore.
Yeah.
And that needs to be put out there as well. I mean, let's just be honest. But that's rock and roll, isn't it?
It is.
You come in, and when people change the system because of you, that's rock and roll.
There you go.
And by the way, the music that I do is modern day rock and roll. My new album, Outlaws Who Come to Life, that's modern day rock and roll. But so it's different every year. If there's not a certain thing you can do. Emails is certainly something that should be, somehow. You have newsletters, right?
Yep.
I have a radio show with thousands of people, and so I'm not just emailing please, here is my song. No, I can email my radio show so people know, wow, this guy's doing something, you know. Let people be part of the process of the whole construction of the music video, the song, producing. Let people grow and have an investment, some kind of investment, you know. And this goes beyond Grammy voters. Like, I think it's very hard to just cater to Grammy voters. It's, you know, 90% of the Grammy voters are musicians, you know. So then there is social media that is catered to Grammy people as well. But again, it's completely different now than it was 3 years ago.
Yeah, well, completely. Well,
it's completely different. And here's one more thing a lot of people don't know. There are committees now as well. So even if you have most of the votes, there's certain categories where they don't let you through. There's a committee of 20 people and they're saying, you know what, this is what we think. And they even have a wild card. They can say, well, you know what, this person didn't even have any votes, but we think, you know, it should be in the pot. And so that's part of the decision as well. You don't have no power over that. And some of these mechanisms have been put in also after I got the nomination. But not only in that category, in other categories as well. So even if you have the votes, it doesn't guarantee anything in certain categories.
absolutely. I mean, there's so many filters there that it's very difficult to really get past all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So was
The big question was always, well, who is in that committee? That's a big question. What kind of people are in the committee? But I think the Grammys are doing the best they can to have a objective committee in there, because at the end of the day, that's very important. Because if you have major labels or A&Rs, I mean, who is in that committee? That is a big question. It's very secretive, but I have been assured by the Grammys that they do the best they can to really make sure that it's fair.
and you believe them?
I believe that they're doing the best they can.
Okay, that's fair enough. You know, you can really only go off what they say. So I think that that's fair. I agree with that. They're probably doing the best that they can. So then
The question is just, do you need these committees? I'm not a fan of them. I think you should just get rid of the committees, because by the time you get a Grammy nomination, that means you got a lot of votes. A lot of people voted. There's no accident, right? So why question of that many votes?
Yeah.
You know, like, that's just my personal humble opinion.
So there were, I believe, at one point Facebook groups that they had that were intended
They still
to
have them.
close.
They still have them.
So was that something that you were able to utilize?
No, because they didn't have them.
They didn't at the time?
No,
Okay.
not when I was there, yeah.
I know that there was a case, I'm forgetting the artist's name, but she was able to utilize something like that and get herself onto a Grammy nomination, but it was through those Facebook groups.
No, it's probably the Grammy had their own kind of Facebook type of group that we were all part of. And I was part of that too, but now it's literally Facebook as well.
Wow,
You know,
okay.
so Facebook wasn't there before.
So it was completely a closed network.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
It's interesting how many closed doors and veils there are around it.
Yeah.
So
But again, listen, there's thousands of people doing the same thing.
Yeah.
It's even within these closed doors, it's very competitive.
Oh yeah, I mean, getting above, you know, however many thousands of artists, musicians, bands that were competing, it's insurmountable, and you were able to really get beyond that, and it's very impressive. But let's talk a little bit about your new album. What was your inspiration for it?
50s rock and roll music.
Very cool.
And I grew up, that's what really got me into the music industry. It was the great performers like Chuck Berry and Little Richard and Jerry Lee Lewis, and they're all still alive, thank God. You know, that spirit of the 50s, I think that got cut short in 58, and it was born in 55. So I listened to a lot of these cats, and it was not hip when I was young, you know, but that's what I listened to, even before I listened to Michael Jackson and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, and so throughout the years, I was just doing music, you know, producing, songwriting, and just going for whatever I thought was cool. By the way, the same thing for the song that I got nominated for. That's not a rock and roll song. It was a song that I thought was cool, and we produced it. It was cute, you know, it connected. It was a very cute story. Also, if you watch the video. But what the whole Grammy thing the Grammy nomination helped me, and all the critique, by the way, too, and reading the blogs, and some of them were very funny. I did not read everything, but I had to read a little bit.
Yeah.
Just to feel the temperature. And I don't read it anymore, but I learned so much about psychology, how people think and stuff. But it helped me mature in finding my own true sound. It just sped up a process where I was like, you know what? I don't really care about what's hip right now. I really don't. I'm not listening to, oh, this is where it's going. Okay, let me try. And we were all doing this before. As an independent artist, you're trying to find yourself, because a lot of people tell you, well, if you want to be successful, you need to do this. You really think you're going to be on the radio if you do this? Like now, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I really don't give a shit. All I care about is this true to myself? And I created a sound, and I call it modern day rock and roll, that is spirited in the 50s, but it certainly sounds like today.
Yeah.
Even like tomorrow. So I'm not doing dated music. It absolutely sounds like tomorrow even. And that is a sound that I was only able to create because I produce and master and mix everything by myself, and I can just test for hours. And because I felt the urge of, okay, what's next? And next is inside of me. So I just listened to my heart.
That's amazing. That's really
Thank
cool
you.
to hear. Who's your biggest inspiration, just as somebody who has created every aspect of their own music? There's only a small handful of people that have been very successful and gotten to this point doing that. The first name that comes to my mind is Todd Rundgren.
Mm-hmm.
Who has really been your influence in getting yourself to that point?
Well, I think a lot of the artists that influenced me didn't have the chance that we have today to really control an entire music studio.
Sure.
On your laptop, like a Michael Jackson. I think he certainly would have been one of those guys that would have done everything himself.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, he was very involved already, but if he had it like all, and I think in his later years, he probably didn't have the urge to start from scratch and starting to do Logic and all. Maybe he did, we don't know.
Yeah.
He was seriously curious enough, and I was very blessed to have met him several times and the entire family. But I think Michael certainly is an inspiration when it comes to that. If you look at, I'm very inspired, like I said, of the 50s artists, but it was not very common for them to write their own material.
Yep.
But many of them did, like Little Richard or Chuck Berry, so I'm very influenced by that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right, we got that fixed. We'll edit that out. So, let me think. What's a good jumping off point from that, since we already have an edit mark? Is there anything that you'd like us to go over? Maybe the Viper Room?
Yeah.
Alrighty, so we'll restart here. So you got to do your album release at the Viper Room. How were you able to book that? Was it any difficulty in getting that? Because it's a great venue.
It's a great venue, and I think it was the perfect venue to do that. It's not too big, not too small. It certainly stands for rock and roll, and I just really, really want to bring it to that new, modern day rock and roll. I think a lot of people talking about is rock coming back. I don't believe rock is coming back in the old form. It's certainly not. Like it never has, and nothing has ever just come back in its old form. There's got to be a new form, and I think I created that sound. And I think the Viper Room was great to do that. But having said that, for all the independent artists out there, all you really have to do is just guarantee ticket sales.
Yeah.
Like, they don't really care what you're doing. All you have to do is just guarantee a certain amount of tickets. You can be farting on stage as long as you sell your tickets.
I tried to do that once, though. They didn't let me book.
Oh, really?
I'm just kidding.
Oh, the farting?
Yeah.
Yeah, but because, no, all you have to do is just guarantee tickets. And it's on YouTube. Just type in Al Walser, the Viper Room, and we'll put the entire performance up there.
Al Walser Comes Alive.
Al Walser Comes Alive, it's the name of the album. Yeah.
Released at the Viper Room. What would you like your fans, our viewers, our readers to check out? What are the 3 biggest things? We've got the YouTube video. What are 2 others?
Yeah, if you go to alwalser.com, we put up a new promotion video about what I'm doing on Periscope.
Excellent.
I'm singing in the bathtub. I'm seeing comments from people. Periscope is a live interacting, it's engaged reality. It's kind of the new form of reality, engaged reality. And there's a very cool video we put up. It's so much fun. I just need that instant communication with people.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's so addicting for both sides. It's addicting
Absolutely.
for me, it's addicting for them. So I definitely want you to check out that promotion video. It's on alwazza.com. It pops up on autoplay. And listen to the album, Al Wazza Comes Alive. It's a very important album for me because it defines my sound. And it's me literally stepping out of a coffin, because I come alive.
I love the artwork. So you've already said that you don't care where they hear it as long as they hear it, but do you have a place that you prefer them to go download it if they're going to?
I don't.
So just go listen to it
I can't tell people
anywhere.
where to listen. You know, people
Yeah.
have their routines, and I really don't.
I can definitely respect that. So
Because I'm not going to enrich you just because they download it from iTunes. Yeah, I mean, if you want to download it from iTunes, and Amazon is probably be preferred than streaming, but
good to know. Okay.
I don't know. You know, just listen to it.
Just get it in your ears, get it in your heart, and enjoy the
That's the
music.
most important thing. Yeah. But we are at a crucial stage right now. It's very hard for independent artists, you know. But we have to just really just accept the fact that we can't sell music right now, you know, and streaming has not hit scale yet. You know, hopefully in 2-3 years, but right now it's just. I would even consider stop promoting your music. Stop them because you can't compete with the big shot. I mean, certainly stop promoting on radio.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you want to submit it to us, that's different. You pay $29 and you have a chance to be played on 400 radio stations and even licensing deal. Why not?
That's
you know, give it a
tremendous
shot.
for $29.
Right, exactly. And we guarantee feedback if we don't play it.
Wow.
So, but having said that, I would be very careful on how you invest your promotion budget, if you even have a budget, because you can't compete with the majors.
Yeah.
So try to do something where you can't compete, which is putting yourself out there as a personality, but have the music be the driving force.
Brilliant. I think that is a perfect ending point. So Al, let me just say thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, guys. Thank you so
My
much.
pleasure. I think this has been extremely insightful.
Thank
I'm
you.
really excited to get some feedback from our readers
Yes.
and to really get this into their consciousness.
And a big shout out to the readers as well, because your articles are great, but your comments are great as well.
We love our comments. That is
So a big shout out to all the people writing the comments, and Ari.
Thank you.
I've seen Ari performing live. He's terrific.
He is. Yeah,
I've seen him at the
couple
Hotel
shows.
Cafe. I watch him live.
Awesome. I'll probably bump into you there at some point.
Yes. So yes.
Excellent. Well, once again, Al, thank you very much. Thank you for watching.